Thank you guys so much. I feel like a big part of us gathering is just to be family. That's a big part of this week. But secondly, I feel like it's to help you remember. And you're going to hear me say these three things a few times this week. To remember your mission, your passion, and the message that you carry. Because I feel like sometimes when things change around us, when the culture changes, or when the politics change, or just anything around us changes as much as it has, it's easy to get distracted, and it's easy to forget. And it's easy to almost think that we should be doing something else, or that somehow our calling should change because the world around us is changing. But I really just wanted to encourage you with a couple of verses tonight, and remind you that nothing about your calling has changed. This is Acts 6, verses 1 through 4 from The Voice. I thought this was an interesting parallel to what's going on right now in our world. It says this: things were going well, and the number of disciples was growing, but a problem arose. The Greek-speaking believers became frustrated with the Hebrew-speaking believers. Any frustrations like that in our world right now? The Greeks complained that the Greek-speaking widows were being discriminated against in the daily distribution of food. The 12 convened the entire community of disciples, the 12. We could solve this problem ourselves. We could. But that wouldn't be right. We need to, listen to this, we need to focus on proclaiming God's message, not on distributing food. So, friends, find 7 respected men from the community of faith. These men should be full of the Holy Spirit and full of wisdom. Whomever you select, we will commission to resolve this matter so that we can maintain our focus on praying and serving, not meals, but the message. So it's incredible. God still takes care of the needs, but he sent other people to specialize in that need that arose so that the original calling of those apostles could be preserved, those disciples. That original calling is preserved. And I just want to speak that over you tonight. Your calling is not changed. You're called to carry that message through song. It's the same message. Yours just comes out in song. So don't be discouraged by what's going on around you, and don't feel distracted, and don't feel like you need to change your calling. Don't feel like you need to do, hours of research on all this stuff online. Don't feel like you need to even post a lot of stuff online. Actually, that's a lot of distraction. What we really need to be doing is so important. It is time for the church to arise. Why is that? Let's look at Acts. This is chapter 12, verses 20 and 24, again from The Voice. It says this: at this time, there was major political upheaval. Okay, later on in that chapter. Through all this upheaval, this is important, God's message spread to new frontiers and attracted more and more people. What was it that did that? It was the message, and it was triggered by the upheaval, the political upheaval. That's where we are right now. It's 100% time to rise up and write. 100% time for us to rise up into that calling. Psalm 40, verse 3 also says, he put a new song into my mouth, a hymn of praise to our God. And then this ties in with everything I just said. Many will see and fear the Lord and put their trust in him. We're carrying the gospel. We're carrying something that's so important. If we are faithful to write, that means people will see Jesus. That's what it means. If we're faithful, people will see Jesus. So we just have to be faithful in our calling, and the gospel will spread. And that's really, I think, one of the greatest ways that the gospel spreads. It's through song. Have you ever thought about that? I don't know anything else that can be in an elevator, a hospital room, and a Taco Bell at the same time. right? And even recently, I think they've realized the power of song, and it's been silenced in parts of the world. That should tell us something right there, just the fact that it's getting silenced. So I really think we need these songs more than ever. So if you stop, the gospel stops. The gospel stops. And your yes may affect many generations to come. One yes. And a lot of times we look at what we can see. And that's just not the case with how the kingdom works. We are faithful to do what God has called us to do. And when we get to heaven, we may see generations of people changed by one song that we wrote. Even if it was never on the radio, even if it was never sung in a church, if it was passed on to one person and it changed that heart, that song could influence and impact more people than any song you hear on the radio. That's just how the kingdom works. That's how it operates. So, we need to remember what's important. And we carry the gospel. We carry the message. We deliver it through song. Nothing going on in this culture right now is going to change that. I just wanted to remind you of your mission and your passion and what that message is that you carry. So this week, I'm going to ask you guys to rise up and write. I want to see it.